Hey everyone, welcome to AFS Hackers. My name is Afshan, and as you guys know, we are working on this penetration testing tool series. We have already covered the first tool, that is Recon NG. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend you to watch it because I have explained Recon NG commands in a very easy to understand way, and it was an updated tutorial. So please watch that video. And in this video, we are going to learn about my favorite tool in penetration testing, that is Nmap. We have to scan our network, we have to find the open ports. So as a penetration tester, you have to work on this tool maybe on a daily basis. So if you are a bug hunter, so you are using this tool regularly. So let's see what is Nmap. So Nmap is a network mapper, is a free and open source utility for network discovery and security auditing. Nmap provides a number of features for scanning a computer networks, including host discovery and service and operating system detection. And many systems and network administrators also find it useful for tasks such as network inventory, managing service, upgrade schedules, and monitoring host or service uptime. So this is a short introduction about Nmap. Let's see what are the scan types in Nmap we have. So before going to the main switches we have in Nmap, I'm gonna cover this topic because I think it is really important for an interview purpose. Because when I was giving interviews, so 5 to 6 people ask me. I have mentioned Nmap in my resume, so they have asked me this question: what is the null scan? What is the scan? What is the Nmap scan types? And this Xmas scan. What is Xmas scan? So basically, when you are doing bug bounty, or maybe when you are working on hack the box machines, or maybe if you're working on your personal projects, or maybe as a freelancer, you don't really know what are Nmap scan types, right? Like what is UDP scan type, what is fin scan, what is Xmas scan, zombie scan. And that happened to me as well. Like I was prepared for an interview in a practical way, but the interviewer was not in a good mood. He was asking me about the scan types, and also I think it is really important for an interview purpose, and for extra knowledge, obviously. So Nmap has 8 scan types. The first type of scan is SYN scan, second is X scan, third is TCP connect scan, fourth is UDP scan, fifth is fin scan, sixth is null scan, seventh is Xmas scan, and eight is zombie scan or idle scan. Let's see each of these scan one by one. Okay, so the Nmap scan type, the first scan type is TCP connect scan. So I have included all the main points in my slide. So if you are preparing for an interview, you guys can use it. So the TCP connect scan. TCP connect scan is a default TCP scan type when SYN scan is not an option. Okay, SYN is a default type of scan, and TCP connect scan completes the three-way handshake. Okay, if you know how the TCP handshake works, so you guys can understand it really well, that it completes the three-way handshake. And this scan is not only noisy, like noisy means it is not a stealthy scan. Okay, so when you scan by using this scan type, it will trigger the intrusion detection systems of the organization. So that is the reason it is a noisy scan, and it is also puts load on the machine. So that is the reason it is a disadvantage of this particular scan. So the main point is it completes the three-way handshake, and it is a noisy scan, and it puts more load on the machine. And as you guys can see, here is the syntax of this scan. Like you have to use this particular switch, that is ST, the small s and the capital T, and you have to provide the target IP. -P is for port number, you can provide it here. And the advantage of this particular scan is it's quite reliable, because obviously it completes the three-way handshake. That means it send the acknowledgement packet, every time, right? That means we are not losing any data, right? The disadvantage is it's a less stealthy scan because connection attempts will be logged by the server and it takes longer time and send more packets. Obviously, it will trigger the intrusion detection system of the organization. So this is about the TCP Connect scan. Second one is TCP Stealth scan or SYN scan. This is a default scan and it is good for the most purposes. This type of scan is also known as the half-open scanning because it never actually opens a full TCP connection. And it works by sending a single TCP SYN packet to each possible port. If it gets a SYN-ACK packet back, then Nmap knows there is a service running there. If it doesn't get a response, it assumes the port is closed. And here is the syntax of this Nmap scan type, the small s and the capital S. The advantage of this particular scan is it's quicker because it sends less number of packets, and disadvantage is with advancement in defense technology, it is not stealthy anymore. So it is not a stealthy scan, guys. Let's see the third scan, that is null scan. So it is a very stealthy scan that sets all the TCP header flag to off or null. This is not normally a valid packet and some host will not know what to do with this. Windows operating system are in this group and scanning them with null scan will produce unreliable results. For non-Windows server protected by firewall, this can be way to get through. So here is a note that if a port is closed, it replies with the reset ACK, and if it's open, it does not reply. So basically when it replies with the reset tag, it means the port is closed, and if it is not reply, that means the port is open. And here is the syntax of null scan. You have to use the capital N here, provide the target IP and the port. Advantage of this particular scan is it is stealthy and can bypass some firewalls. And disadvantage is it is unreliable at many times. So this is about the null scan. Let's see the next scan type, that is UDP scan. So UDP scanning utilizes UDP and ICMP packets to discover the status of a port. Nmap sends an empty UDP packet and either receives no reply or an ICMP port unreachable packet. But due to UDP's connectionless nature, the output can be unreliable at many times, obviously. It may be quite low, since some machines intentionally slow down responses to this kind of traffic to avoid being overwhelmed. And here is the syntax that you have to use the capital U with small s, okay, and provide the target IP and the port. Let's see the next scan type, that is FIN scan. This is also a stealthy scan like the SYN scan, but sends a TCP FIN packet instead, okay. Make sure you remember that it sends the TCP FIN packet. Most but not all computers will send the reset packet back if they get this input. So the FIN scan can show false positive and negative, but it may get under the radar of some IDS programs or other countermeasures. So basically it trigger the intrusion detection system of the organization. So make sure that you are using this scan type. So here is a note that if a port is closed, it replies with a reset ACK, and if it's open, it replies with a FIN. Very easy to understand. And here is the syntax of the FIN scan, that is you have to use the capital F with the small s, okay, and you have to provide the target IP and port. So let's see the next scan type, that is ACK scan. So it is a stealthy scan and sets all the TCP header flags to ACK. The ACK scan is not meant to discover the open and closed status of a port. Instead, it helps us to determine the rule sets of firewall. So basically it is not used for discovering the open and closed status of a port. We can determine the rule sets of the firewall. And here is the syntax of this ACK scan type, that you have to write the Nmap SA, the capital A, and you have to provide the target IP and the port. Pros and cons. Advantage will be to find out the firewall rule set, and the disadvantage is it cannot determine the port status of open or close. Let's see the next scan type, that is Xmas scan. Like it was a question asked by an interviewer that what is Xmas scan. stealthily sneak through stateless firewalls by turning on different TCP flags like fin, urge, or push. Windows machine won't respond to this due to the way their TCP stack is implemented. Xmas can derive their name from the sets of flags that are turned on within a packet. And here's a note that if a port is closed, it replies with the reset tag. And if it is open, it replies with fin, urge, and push. And the advantage of Xmas scan is it is stealthy, and disadvantage is it is unreliable at many times. And here is the syntax. I have highlighted all the switch in black, and here Xmas scan, it is a capital X with small s, and the target IP and the port you have to provide. The next scan type is zombie scan or idle scan. In this scan, we need a zombie in order to perform an idle scan. In a nutshell, Nmap will attempt to leverage an idle host to indirectly launch a port scan, therefore hiding our IP address from the target. So basically, zombies are the compromised machine, and it is one of the more controversial option in Nmap since it really only has a use for malicious attack. And here is the syntax of this particular scan, that is Nmap SI for idle scan, and you have to provide the zombie IP, port number, and the target IP. So these are the scan types we have in Nmap. I hope you understand it, guys, as per the interview perspective. So we have covered the theory part of Nmap. Now it's time for a practical. So here is my Kali Linux machine, and let's write the Nmap help. Okay, so it will give you the help menu. Let's see the core commands we have. Okay, target specification, -il and input file name, input from list of host and network. We can exclude the host. Here's the host discovery option. We have list scan, simply list targets to scan. We have ping scan, disable port scan, PN, -PN switch is used for treat all hosts as online. These are the scan techniques we have covered: the TCP SYN scan, UDP scan, null scan, fin scan, Xmas scan. We have covered these flags. Port specification and scan order, like we can use this -P to only scan specified port. -F for fast mode. We have service and version detection. We'll use this particular switch, that is SV. And these are the script scans we can use. By using this -O, capital O switch, we can enable the OS detection. We can determine the OS of the target machine. And these are the timing and performance. Okay, so let's start off with a simple scan with no option. Let me clear my screen first. Nmap, and here is the target IP address. I'm using this hack the box machine IP address. Let's wait. So our Nmap scan is completed and it takes only 6 seconds. So now, as you guys can see, we have two open ports. The first one is port 22 TCP, and the port 80 is also enabled. As you guys can see, here are ports and their states and the service. So SSH is open, HTTP is open. Okay, port 22 and port 80 is open. Now let's see. So what is the version of this HTTP service that is running on our target machine? So by using this particular switch, that is SV, we can determine the service version by using this SV switch. Let's run this. Okay, so our Nmap scan is completed, and as you guys can see, the SSH version is OpenSSH 8.2, and here we have the Apache HTTPD 2.4.41 version. Okay, and the service info OS information is also there, that is a Linux operating system. Okay, that's great. Now let's see the other important switch, that is Nmap dash capital O and the target IP address. Dash O will determine the OS of this target machine. We already know that it is a Linux operating system, but this is also a way we can determine the OS. So we have got this information that no exact OS matches for the host. Okay, so it happens sometimes, don't worry. Okay, we'll try this particular switch. Okay, let's try the A, capital A. Capital A means all. Basically, it's going to do port scan, versioning, OS guessing, and also scripting. So let's run this command. Okay, so as you guys can see, our scan is completed, and we have got the information. Port 22 TCP is open. Here is the version. Ubuntu Linux is there. SSH host key. This is RSA. RSA key is also there. Port 80 is open. Apache HTTPD 2.4.41 is a version. And we have this one application running on port 80, that is Elf Finder. And here's the version of this web application. HTTP server header, Apache. Okay, no exact OS matches for the host, but here we have Ubuntu Linux, so obviously the target system is Linux based. And network distance is 2 hops. Service info or OS, here we have the Linux operating system, and here are the trace route information. 2 hops is there, so these are the address and OS. Okay, that's great. By using this particular switch, that is dash A, capital A, you can get this information. Okay, this is a very useful switch. Now let's discover the host, and by using this SN switch, we can disable the port scanning, and we are enabling the host discovery. And I'm using this particular IP address. Host is up. You guys can use this particular command to find out how many hosts are up on your network. And now this time I'd like to save the output. So I'm going to use the following switch, that is OG, and I'll write host information like it is a file name. Okay, let's hit enter. Okay, cat host info. So here are the host, but it looks so messy, right? Like I can't send this particular report to my manager. Okay, so I'll use the following command, that is write cat host info, and I wanna grab it, and we'll use this up as a grep content. Okay, this is the status, that is up. Sorry, this is the status of the host will be up, and we want all the running host up and running host. So that is the reason I'm using this up keyword here. And let's cut it and use the -d for delimiter. And there is a space right here. We have the space in host and the IP address, we have the space. So the delimiter is space F for field, that is 2. First is the host field, and I want this IP addresses, so I'm using this 2 here, and we'll save the output in up host file. Okay, up host file, let's hit enter. ls, let's cat the up host file. So we have got the list of our up and running host in our network, but not in our network. Basically, I'm using one of the public IP address. So this is how you can check how many hosts are up in your network by using this particular switch, that is SN, and you can save the output in a file by using this OG switch. So we have covered the important switches in Nmap. So here are the useful switches of Nmap that as we determine the version of the service running on a port. Dash O, capital O, is used for remote OS detection using TCP IP stack fingerprinting. Dash A enables OS detection, version detection, script scanning, and traceroute. We have seen that. Dash SN will disable port scanning and host discovery, like we can discover the hosts that are up and running. OG switch is for grabbable output to the file. We can save the output in a file. IL scan targets from a file. So basically in this particular switch, we can create a file. Okay, we can create the file touch and map scan file, and we'll provide the random IP addresses. Like 10.10.10, 10.1, like this. And you can use this following switch to scan this file. Okay, and it will take time. So by using this following switch, you guys can scan the file. You just store all the IP addresses, public IP address, in a file, and use this particular switch to scan all the IP addresses in a file. Okay, here you have to provide the name of the file. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like it. If you did, then please share this video with your friends and your colleagues who are learning about Nmap, and make sure that you guys are subscribing to my YouTube channel. We'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, take care and keep learning. Bye bye.